Hello. So today I'm going to show you how to set yourself up into basic reclining pose. This is a variation on Shavasana, so the video that I did before where we're just laying flat on our back with the knees supported and the ankles supported and the head supported. This time we're going to also support the back at a gentle angle. It's handy if there are reasons why you can't lay flat on your back, there's any contraindications or it's just too uncomfortable. Just raising the back a little bit can be really helpful, and especially useful if you're feeling any congestion on your chest, or if you're coughing a lot when you're lying down. Just raising the back can bring some relief from that for you. It's one of the more prop heavy poses, so what you'll need are two bolsters or something resembling a bolster. So here I've made one out of a rolled summer duvet and then just wrapped a scarf around it, which is looking very bohemian but nicely effective. And this one is just a cushion off of the bed, scrunched up and then wrapped in a bath sheet with a couple of scarves either end just to tie it together. Now these are both a bit softer than a standard bolster would be, so we're going to talk a little bit about how we can adapt support. This is a regular bolster and they're pretty tough. They're nice and firm and supportive. These are a little bit softer, but we can work with that. So this is all about adapting what you have rather than feeling like you've got to go out and somehow source the real deal. You don't. Let's start with setup and I'll chat a little bit as we go. In fact, I was just talking about what we might need. So bolsters, some sort of two bolsters of some variety or other. If you have any cork blocks, then half a dozen of those are handy. Or if you have cork blocks, then you can use those. Or you just get a pile of books, and these are just regular paperbacks. I'm quite a reader, so these are quite weighty paperbacks, but if you've only got little ones, or whatever you've got to hand. Height-wise, these are probably about 25 centimetres tall. So that's a pile of around about 25 centimetres tall. We'll talk a little bit about what we're aiming for with the setup and the back support as I show you that. So let's begin. Let's just start with the support for the back. Other things that you'll need. Oh, sorry, this is so muddled today. I am in a bit of a rush to get this done. Also, you'll need a couple of blankets or towels or something that you can fold to provide support for the head, for the ankles, and also a couple of cushions or something that you can use, like a pillow from the bed again, something you can use to give your arms some support. So if we were doing this in a classroom setting and I had all my stuff with me, we would use cork blocks, and I would use one standing on its end and I would use another slightly further forwards, and then I would take a bolster and I would support it like that, and that gives us a nice angle. Ideally we're looking for an angle of 30 degrees or less. The reason we're looking for an angle of 30 degrees or less is that it's to do with the reticular activating system in the body, so that which governs whether we're awake or relaxed. And an angle 30 degrees or lower takes that into a more relaxed state. If we're higher up, much higher up, then we're going to be a bit more alert, and it's going to take us longer for the brain to come into that nice relaxed state. So you are looking for an angle of about 30 degrees. So either cork blocks. However, if you don't have a nice firm bolster, Cork blocks aren't that great because when you put one of these softer makeshift ones on and then you lay back on it, what can happen, apart from it falling over, is that you sag a bit in the middle, and we don't really want that to happen. We want some nice firm support all the way along the back. So in that case you can also use a pile of blocks and then lay your bolster along the blocks. So ideally I would have an extra one. I think I've just propped my phone up on the extra block that I bought. So I would have another block under here and just take that a little bit higher and maybe even fold something under there so that was at a bit of an angle. You could take such a rolled blanket and just prop under there so that it's got that angle, it's straight. So if I show you when I lay back against it, I'm not sagging or dropping in the middle. I'm wanting to be nice and lifted through the rib cage, through the shoulders and through the head. If you don't have blocks, then this is where the books come in. And again, what I've found with the books is that actually you just need to have a few more. So you want to build a support for yourself that's going to really support the whole of the length of the bolster. So here we go. There hasn't been much thought gone into which books I picked here. I've just grabbed what was lying closest to me on the bookshelf. And so they're all various sizes, but that works fine. The smallest bunch here, the ones for the front, so I guess maybe about 10 centimetres high, this lot. Very similar to the cork block that I use in terms of the height. And then I've put a pile in the middle, and I haven't tied the pile in the middle because the piles on either side that are tied will be quite enough, hopefully, to hold those in place. And then the bolster goes on top. Then what you're going to need is some extra head support. So when I was showing you Shavasana, I had to do that extra video just to mention the importance of just having the chin inclining towards the chest. So if your chin is moving up and away towards the ceiling or away from the chest, then that means that the neck is in extension. It's bending back. And we want everything to be in flexion, bending forwards. So you've got a nice curve through the back of the neck. And that's what this blanket will do. If you need extra support, then you give yourself extra support as and when you need it. I'm going to move this bolster out of the way. The second bolster is going to come towards the end of the mat. And you're also going to have a rolled blanket, just rolled into a thin sausage shape to support the ankles. Now when we're talking about supporting the ankles, I mean the back of the Achilles tendon. So this sort of soft area, just to lift the bony part of the ankle. Calcaneus, I think, I might be wrong. Just to lift that slightly off the floor so it's not pressing into the floor. So if you're spending a lot of time and that's going into the floor, then it can get a bit uncomfortable after a while. The other thing you're going to want to have to hand is something to cover the eyes. So if you have an eye pillow, brilliant. If you've constructed an eye pillow out of something, great, but you can use just a regular scarf, fold it over, and then something to support the arms. So I've got cushions here, I could use those, or I've got a couple of pillows here as well. I'll keep those just handy for the moment. Also, before you get comfortable, have a blanket or something to put over you to keep you warm once you're in the pose. Now, coming in, so much stuff I don't know what to do with it to keep it handy. So coming into the pose, you're going to bring your bottom right into where the bolster meets the floor. So you can lean forwards a little bit and wriggle your bum back. And then this bolster is going to support right underneath the knees. So not too far up to the thighs, not too far down, but right underneath. You can really just let the knees and the legs rest. Then position your blanket so that it's underneath the Achilles tendon and supporting the ankle joints. Then let yourself come back and just test out your support. Now, if you're not comfortable, come up. Don't want to pause there. Come on up and just do what you need to do to be more comfortable. You can get more books and bring yourself up a little bit higher. I've got an extra one here. So if your head's going too far back, try just sticking an extra book there. You can also put them on an angle and use it that way. I'm quite liking the books because they're so versatile. But yeah, that would be quite a lot of stuff to bring to classes. Piles and piles of books. Okay, and so again, I showed you just the tucking in around the head of the blanket. You can do that here. You can, well, let's leave the eye pillow for a moment because I just want to show you this. Your arms can either come in, and that's where having a pillow comes in, because you can just prop them up against your side and then you just let the arms hang over. And that's really, really nice. Or if you want to be more open across the chest, and if you're feeling a bit chesty or congested, then that might feel nicer for you, just to really open out across the chest. You can just support the arms up. So if you don't have any support underneath the arms, what happens is that the elbows tend to just dangle, and so it can be quite nice just to have something to rest the elbows on. So again, it's the building up of your support to meet you, rather than trying to make any of the body come down to the support. If you need to, you can throw a blanket over yourself. And then you can use your eye pillow. You can either tie it if you're using a scarf, or tuck it in, or just pop your eye pillow over your eyes. And that's it. And you can just rest here. Coming out of the pose, when you're ready to come out, bring your feet onto the bolster and then just let yourself roll to the side and come up from the side. So ideally staying in for at least 15 minutes, give yourself 20, 25, 30 if you can. You don't need to use books. You don't need to use blocks. What you can do, even if you don't have a bolster even, is you can pull like a cushion from the sofa and just prop that against the edge of the sofa, just so you're looking really for a 30-degree angle or slightly less. And there are lots of ways that you can find that. And do share, if something works for you, please share it with the group. That would be really helpful. I'm trying to think of what else. Yes, settling in, taking a few deeper breaths in and out can be helpful. And then again, just allowing anything that arises to arise. It's normal for the brain when we come into these poses, first of all, to be quite noisy and chatty, and you might find lots of things are coming up for you, maybe even quite randomly. Just let that be, just watch it. It's like a strange movie unfolding in front of the eyes that you don't actually have to be a part of or engage with. It's just as things release, they come up to the surface, they come into awareness, and then they go. It's so when things start to get busy or noisy, the less attached you can get to them, or you can be with them, then the more helpful that is. You want to just let stuff kind of flutter off. A nice way to visualise it is to sort of see things bobbing along on a river in front of you, just floating off downstream. So I think the next ones, I've been given a couple of ideas for the next ones. I'm sorry it's taking me such a long time to get stuff out and with you, but bear with me, I will, and I'm doing the best I can. And I really hope to have some more for you soon, including maybe some shorter practices. So if that would be helpful, just to have 15 minutes, just a regular yoga practice that you can do. Mum's asked for one post-gardening, so I'll try and get around to that as well. But yeah, I'll do my best to serve. Namaste. Be well.